the NOAA's Climate Division and the Climate Prediction Center and the U.S. National Weather Service have come out with their official national winter outlook, and it's not exactly the best of news for us if we like cold weather and snow.
Okay.
Looking at things, it looks like El Nino is going to bear a stronger influence on our weather than what we've seen the past couple of years. There's signatures going on in the western Pacific and in the equatorial Pacific that would indicate that we're seeing a continued warming trend, and so they're placing a 67% chance of El Nino developing by the end of this year. And what we typically see in an El Nino winter is warmer than normal temperatures with a drier than normal signature. And the drier than normal signature is a kind of a stronger signature than per se the temperature signature. What else to consider about this outlook is it's looking at the key part of winter, the kind of December, January, February, kind of the heart of winter, if you will, and looking at it as a whole as opposed to a 1 month or a 1 week period. So this is not to say we won't see our cold snaps and not to say we won't see a good snowstorm or two and we won't see snow in the mountains. But I have a feeling that based on this outlook, based on El Nino's development, when we look in the rearview mirror come next spring, all added up, we should see a warmer than normal winter and a drier than normal winter.
All right. So compared to last year when we had the heavy snow and a couple of really bad cold snaps, chances are we won't be seeing that, or were those things that we had relative anomalies that we experienced last year?
Well, see, the amazing thing about the way global climate works is despite the fact that El Nino has a large influence, when El Nino is playing or when La Nina is playing, they have a large influence over parts of a continent and parts of the globe. But there are other factors that are going on that are working on a day-to-day or weekly basis. We call them oscillations or some variabilities. And so those are the little things that we'll be watching for throughout the winter that will give us those anomaly snowstorms. So the ones that we had this last winter, those strong, the heavy snow and the big cold snap that happened, those were kind of attributed to teleconnective forces. So they happened because something else happened in another part of the world. And so we watch for those signatures happening upstream out over the Pacific or over eastern China and Asia and down in towards India. There are areas where we can see influences eventually on our Pacific jet stream that might not look like El Nino for a short period of time, like an El Nino influenced climate area, but then it eventually goes away and we reset back to what El Nino kind of influences on a larger scale.
Okay, so basically we're looking at a warmer, drier winter for western Montana.
When you add it all up and we look in the rearview mirror, that's what we're going to see. And it looks like that's pretty much what we're going to see for, as far as warmer, for much of the northern tier of the country. And El Nino, it's typically drier in the Pacific Northwest. And the nice thing about this El Nino, it should bring wetter conditions to the southern tier of the country with some cooler than normal temperatures along the southeast.